First Contact and Misconceptions. Admiral Elena Rice stood at the command deck of the EDS Intrepid, her weathered hands clasped behind her back as she gazed out at the stars. 30 years in the United Earth Defense Force had prepared her for many things, but first contact wasn't among them. The message had come 3 weeks ago, a transmission from deep space that changed everything. They were no longer alone in the universe. Admiral, the Sinorian diplomatic vessel has cleared the lunar defense perimeter, Lieutenant Commander Okafor announced, his voice steady despite the historic moment unfolding before them. Acknowledge, Rice replied, her expression neutral though her mind raced. Keep the fleet in standby position. Defense grid at passive monitoring only. This was humanity's moment. The culmination of centuries of wondering if they were alone in the cosmos. The United Nations Space Command had prepared protocols for this exact scenario, but protocols were just words on paper until tested by reality. The Sinorian ship was unlike anything humanity had ever constructed. It gleamed like polished obsidian, nearly a kilometer in length, with elegant curves that seemed to bend the very light around it. No visible propulsion systems, no external weapons arrays, just smooth, perfect alien geometry approaching Earth with impossible grace. They're broadcasting on all frequencies, Admiral. Communications Officer Chen reported, requesting permission to dock with the Geneva station. Rice nodded slowly. Grant permission, but maintain security protocols, and alert the Secretary General that our guests are arriving. The Sinorian delegation was everything humanity expected from an advanced spacefaring civilization. Their representatives stood nearly 7 feet tall, with iridescent skin that shifted colors with their moods. Their eyes, 4 of them, arranged in a diamond pattern, took in the human delegation with what appeared to be amusement, though xenobiologists warned against projecting human emotions onto alien physiology. We greet the people of Earth. The lead Sinorian spoke, their voice filtered through translation devices. I am High Commander Velixan of the Sinorian Collective. We have observed your world for some time and deemed you ready for integration into the greater galactic community. Secretary General Adeyemi stepped forward, offering the practiced greeting developed by the United Nations Contact Committee. We welcome you to Earth and extend our hand in friendship and cooperation. Velixan's skin rippled with blue patterns, amusement perhaps. Your enthusiasm is quaint. The Sinorian Collective encompasses over 300 worlds across 17 star systems. We have guided many emerging species into the cosmic brotherhood. What followed was a display that could only be described as technological showmanship. The Sinorians projected holographic displays of their homeworld, vast city planets with structures reaching into the clouds, orbital habitats housing billions, and starships that made humanity's most advanced vessels look like primitive sailing ships. Your species has potential, Velixan continued, but you have much to learn. Your energy production is inefficient. Your propulsion systems are rudimentary. Your weapons. The alien made a sound that the translators couldn't quite capture, but the dismissive tone was clear enough. Admiral Rice maintained her composure, though she noted how the Sinorians specifically asked about Earth's defense capabilities. Every question, every demonstration seemed designed to highlight human inadequacy while probing for military information. We're particularly interested in your nuclear arsenals, one Sinorian scientist mentioned casually. Such primitive but fascinating technology. Our defense technologies are modest but adequate for our needs, Rice replied diplomatically. The standard first contact protocol was clear. Reveal minimal military information, emphasize peaceful intentions, and, most importantly, never reveal your full capabilities. Because what the Sinorians didn't know, what no alien race could know, was that humanity had been preparing for this moment for over a century. After the Geneva conference concluded for the day, Secretary General Adeyemi called an emergency meeting of the Security Council. Admiral Rice attended virtually from her command ship, which had quietly moved to a higher orbit. They're assessing us, Rice stated flatly once the secure connection was established. Every question, every demonstration. They're trying to determine our threat level. You think their intentions are hostile? The Chinese representative asked. I think they're following a playbook, Rise replied. They've done this before with other species. They showcase their technological superiority, make us feel primitive, and then, once they've established psychological dominance, they present their terms. Adeyemi finished. The question is, what are those terms? They didn't have to wait long to find out. The next morning, Veluxan requested a private meeting with Earth's leadership. The Centaurian Collective has determined that Earth requires guidance, the alien announced without preamble. We propose a protectorate status. You will gain access to some of our technologies, clean energy, medical advancements, improved agriculture, in exchange for reasonable resource extraction rights and the placement of Centaurian advisors in key governmental positions. And if we decline this generous offer? Adeyemi asked, her voice carefully neutral. Veluxan's skin darkened to a deep purple. That would be unfortunate. The cosmos is dangerous for isolated worlds. Without our protection, Earth might attract the attention of less benevolent powers. The threat was unmistakable. We'll need time to consider your proposal, Adeyemi replied, maintaining diplomatic protocol despite the obvious coercion. When the Centaurians departed for their ship, the real work began. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in the command center known only as DEPSUORE, humanity's true leadership gathered. They followed the exact pattern described in the Hawking protocols. Admiral Rice reported to the assembled leaders. Technological display, followed by veiled threats, followed by demands for resources and strategic control. Just as the simulations predicted, General Zhao of the Chinese Space Forces nodded grimly. An advanced species would logically seek to establish dominance through psychological means before resorting to military action. What they don't realize, the Russian Space Command representative added, is that we've been expecting this scenario since before we left the solar system. This was humanity's greatest secret, one kept even from their own population. While civilian space agencies developed the visible space program, the world's military powers had been collaborating on a shadow program for generations. Old enemies became allies against the possibility of an existential threat from the stars. Deploy the Sentinel network, Adeyemi ordered, and bring the Eclipse fleet to operational status. Across the solar system, hidden installations awakened. In the asteroid belt, within hollowed-out planetoids, colossal shipyards had been operating in complete secrecy for decades. In the clouds of Venus and the storms of Neptune, sensor arrays powered up, scanning for Centaurian communications. Beyond Pluto's orbit, stealth platforms shifted position, ready to close off the solar system if necessary. When the Centaurians returned 3 days later, their patience had clearly worn thin. We require your answer, Veluxan demanded. The collective has determined that Earth's resources are optimal for our needs. Your cooperation would be beneficial for both our species. Secretary General Adeyemi stood tall. We appreciate your offer, High Commander, but Earth must respectfully decline protectorate status. We are willing to establish diplomatic relations as equals and discuss fair trade agreements. The Centaurian's skin flushed a deep crimson. Perhaps I was unclear. This is not a negotiation. The collective has identified 17 critical mineral deposits and 9 oceanic regions that we require. Your primitive defenses cannot prevent our acquisition of these resources. You've analyzed our visible defenses, Admiral Rice interjected calmly. You've scanned our orbital platforms, our conventional military. You believe you understand our capabilities. For the first time, uncertainty flickered across Veluxan's features. We have conducted thorough analysis. Your most advanced warships use chemical propulsion and nuclear fission. Your orbital defenses consist of primitive kinetic weapons. Yes, Rice nodded. That's what we wanted you to see. She activated her neural link, and throughout the solar system, humanity's real defense grid awakened. On the primary display screen in the conference room, a tactical map appeared, showing hundreds of signals emerging from hiding. What you detected was our public-facing defense force, Rise explained as confusion spread across the alien delegation. What you're seeing now is the Eclipse fleet. We've been building it in secret for 70 years. Velixen stepped back, their four eyes widening as the displays showed massive warships emerging from the dark side of Mars, rising from the clouds of Jupiter, and slipping out of dimensional pockets near Earth itself. Impossible, the Cenorian whispered. Your species hasn't even colonized your own system. Publicly, Rise corrected. We've maintained the appearance of a slowly developing spacefaring civilization while preparing for exactly this scenario. The largest ship in the emerging human fleet dwarfed even the Cenorian vessel. Its designation flashed on the tactical display. EDS Ragnarok, Titan-class dreadnought. You should know, Rise continued, that we've been monitoring your communications since you entered the system. We're aware that your diplomatic vessel carries enough firepower to level our major cities. We're also aware that you have a battle group waiting at the edge of the Kuiper Belt. For the first time, fear rippled across the Cenorian delegation's skin, a pale yellow that the human xenobiologists had never seen before. High Commander, Secretary General Adeyemi said calmly, I suggest we restart our diplomatic discussions. This time, as equals. The reckoning. High Commander Velixen's composure fractured as the tactical display revealed the full extent of humanity's hidden military might. Where moments before the Cenorian had projected absolute confidence, now their iridescent skin pulsed with rapid color changes, from deep crimson to pale yellow to an unsettling gray. 36 capital ships. Admiral Reyes continued calmly, over 200 cruisers, and approximately 500 specialized combat vessels, plus our fixed defenses, planetary shields, and the Sentinel network. The Cenorian delegation exchanged rapid communications in their native language, their translator devices deliberately disabled. You've been deceiving us, Velixen finally managed, their voice stripped of its earlier condescension. We've been cautious, Secretary General Adeyemi corrected. Throughout our history, every time a technologically superior civilization encountered a less advanced one, the results were rarely beneficial for the latter. We learned from our own past mistakes. The truth was more complex than humanity's representatives could admit in that moment. For centuries, Earth's greatest minds had debated the dark forest theory of cosmic civilization, the idea that the universe might be filled with predatory species, and that survival demanded secrecy and strength. When unified quantum communication became possible in the 2080s, the world's powers made an unprecedented decision. Earth would present a carefully crafted image to the cosmos, the appearance of a slowly developing, somewhat divided world still finding its footing among the stars. Meanwhile, behind this facade, a unified defense force unlike anything in human history was constructed. Your battleship, Velixen gestured to the massive vessel now prominently displayed on the tactical screen. It cannot possibly be as advanced as you claim. No species at your development stage cold. The aliens' words were cut short as new data streamed across their personal devices. The Cenorian science officer was frantically analyzing the readings coming from the human fleet. High Commander, the science officer interrupted. Their propulsion signatures indicate dimensional folding technology. Their energy readings suggest artificial singularity containment. For the first time, genuine shock registered on Velixen's features. That's impossible. Those technologies are theoretical even for the collective. Admiral Reyes allowed herself a small smile. Necessity breeds innovation, Commander. When we realized how vulnerable we might be to an advanced alien civilization, we pursued certain, unconventional research paths. The truth behind Reyes' diplomatic understatement was one of humanity's greatest achievements. After the quantum breakthrough of 2091, theoretical physics had undergone a renaissance. Concepts once thought centuries away from practical application, gravity manipulation, dimensional folding, zero-point energy extraction, had become viable through sheer determination and the combined efforts of a species that refused to be vulnerable. The Ragnarok-class vessels represent our first generation of true deep space battleships, Rice continued. They carry enough firepower to reform small moons. Their dimensional drives allow them to appear virtually anywhere in the solar system within moments. As if to demonstrate, the massive human dreadnought disappeared from its position near Mars' orbit, only to reappear moments later just 30,000 kilometers from the Cenorian vessel, close enough to dominate the view from the conference room windows. The alien ship, once imposing, now looked like a child's toy beside the human battleship. Velgsen's composure crumbled completely. You've deployed dimensional weaponry in a gravity well. Do you understand the risks? Better than you might think, Rice replied. Our safety protocols are extensive. The Cenorian commander's next words came as a hiss. Your battle group at the system's edge. They're outnumbered 6-1 by our forces. Numbers aren't everything, General Zhou interjected. But more importantly, your forces are still waiting exactly where they were 8 hours ago. Ours have moved. The tactical display updated to show human vessels surrounding the Cenorian battle group. While the alien commander had been occupied with diplomatic posturing, Earth's hidden fleet had executed a perfect encirclement maneuver. This situation can still be resolved peacefully, Secretary General Adeyemi offered, her voice level. We have no desire for conflict, but we will not be subjugated, exploited, or threatened. For several tense moments, the Cenorian delegation conferred among themselves, their skin colors shifting through patterns never before recorded by human xenobiologists. Finally, Velgsen turned back to the human representatives. The collective has miscalculated, the alien admitted with visible difficulty. Our preliminary assessment of Earth was incomplete. Deliberately so, Rice confirmed. For over a century, we've maintained what we call the Veil Protocol, showing the universe exactly what we wanted it to see. What Rice couldn't say openly was that humanity had detected alien probes in the solar system as far back as 2043. Rather than announcing the discovery or destroying the observers, Earth's leaders had made the calculated decision to let them watch, to observe a carefully curated version of human development. We would like to reopen diplomatic channels, Velgsen stated, under revised assumptions. The next 12 hours were a flurry of tense negotiations, conducted under the watchful eye of the Ragnarok. The Cenorian battle group remained surrounded, a fact that significantly altered the power dynamics of the discussion. In the command center of the Ragnarok, Admiral Rice monitored the proceedings with Captain Hiroshi Tanaka, the vessel's commanding officer. They're still trying to assess our true capabilities, Tanaka noted, watching the continuous scanning attempts from the Cenorian vessels. Rice nodded. Let them see enough to remain cautious, but maintain security protocols on the Excalibur systems. The Excalibur project represented humanity's ultimate deterrent, weapons systems so advanced they bordered on the mythological. Based on principles discovered during the quantum renaissance, they could theoretically unmake matter at the subatomic level across vast distances. Such power was kept under the strictest controls imaginable. The diplomatic team reports progress, Lieutenant Chen announced from her communications station. The Cenorians have withdrawn their resource demands and are proposing a non-aggression pact. It's a start, Rice acknowledged, though her expression remained guarded. Decades of preparing for this moment had left her with a healthy dose of paranoia. That paranoia proved justified 6 hours later, when the Cenorian fleet made its move. Multiple dimensional signatures detected. Lieutenant Commander Okafor shouted. They're broadcasting some kind of interference field. The Cenorian battle group had activated previously undetected technology, a rippling distortion that temporarily disrupted human sensor networks. In that moment of confusion, 5 additional Cenorian warships materialized directly above Earth. Planetary shields at maximum. Rice ordered. All Sentinel platforms. Activate countermeasures. What followed was humanity's first true interstellar battle, a chaotic exchange of technologies never before tested against a determined adversary. The Cenorian weapons were devastating, capable of tearing through conventional defenses with ease. But humanity's preparation proved decisive. The Sentinel network, microsatellite weapons platforms, hidden in plain sight amid communication satellites and space debris, activated simultaneously. Thousands of seemingly insignificant objects suddenly revealed their true nature, unleashing precise counterfire against the Cenorian vessels. Aboard the Ragnarok, Admiral Reyes made the hardest decision of her career. "Captain Tanaka, you are authorized to deploy Excalibur countermeasures, targeted disabling only." Tanaka nodded grimly and initiated the sequence. From the massive human dreadnought, invisible beams of force struck the Cenorian vessels. No explosions, no dramatic visuals, just the sudden, complete failure of all systems aboard the alien ships. Within minutes, the battle was effectively over. The Cenorian vessels hung powerless in orbit, their weapons silenced, their engines dead. "Open a channel to Velixan," Reyes ordered, her voice tight with controlled anger. The Cenorian commander appeared on screen, their skin now a uniform ashen gray. Behind them, emergency lighting cast eerie shadows across their vessel's command center. "Your attempt has failed," Reyes stated simply. "Your ships are disabled but intact. Your crews are alive. For now." "How?" Velixan asked, genuine bewilderment evident in their voice. "Our shields were at maximum. Our technologies are centuries beyond what you should possess." "Apparently not," Reyes replied. "We could destroy your vessels now, but that isn't our way. Instead, I offer you a choice. Depart our system peacefully, or face the consequences of continued aggression." What the Cenorians couldn't know was how close they had come to success. The Excalibur systems had barely functioned as intended, the technology still experimental despite decades of development. Much of Earth's defensive capability had been pushed to breaking point. But in warfare, perception often matters more than reality. "We will withdraw," Velixan conceded, their voice hollow. "But the collective will not forget this encounter." "Nor should you," Secretary General Adeyemi replied, joining the transmission. "Remember that humanity sought peace first. Remember that even when attacked, we chose restraint. And remember what our response might have been had we chosen otherwise." 3 days later, after tense negotiations and careful monitoring, power was restored to the Cenorian vessels. Under the watchful eyes of the human fleet, they retreated beyond the solar system's edge. In the aftermath, humanity faced a new reality. The veil had been lifted. Earth could no longer hide its true capabilities from the wider galaxy. The question now was how to proceed. "They'll be back," General Zhao stated during the Emergency Security Council meeting. "If not the Cenorians, then others. Our existence as an advanced military power is now known." "Then we adapt," Admiral Reyes responded. "The Veil Protocol served its purpose. It gave us time to prepare. Now we need a new approach." Secretary General Adeyemi nodded thoughtfully. "Perhaps the truth, that we are neither conquerors nor prey. That we developed our military might not out of aggression, but caution. That we seek peaceful relations, but will never be subjugated. And if they don't believe us?" someone asked. Reyes gazed at the tactical display, showing the retreating Cenorian fleet. "Then we've already demonstrated our resolve." As the Cenorian vessels reached the heliopause, the boundary where the sun's influence gave way to interstellar space, they transmitted one final message. It was not addressed to Earth's leaders or military, but broadcast openly, meant for all of humanity. "You are not what we expected," Velixan's voice echoed through communication systems worldwide. "For that, the galaxy may yet thank you." With that cryptic statement, the Cenorians vanished into the depths of space, leaving humanity to contemplate its new place among the stars. No longer hiding, no longer pretending to be less than they were. The age of concealment was over. The age of humanity's true emergence had begun. Admiral Reyes stood at the observation deck of the Ragnarok, watching the last sensor readings of the departing alien fleet fade from the displays. Captain Tanaka joined her, offering a cup of coffee. "Do you think they meant it as a threat or a compliment?" he asked, referring to the Centaurian's final message. Rice considered the question as she gazed out at the stars, each one potentially home to civilizations with their own agendas and capabilities. "Perhaps neither," she replied. "Perhaps it was simply recognition. Recognition that the galaxy had miscalculated, that humanity would not be easily impressed, intimidated, or conquered, that the species from the third planet of an unremarkable yellow star had earned its place among the cosmos, not through aggression or dominance, but through determination, foresight, and the will to defend its own." The battleships that had so shocked the Centaurians returned to their hidden positions throughout the solar system, ready if needed. But Ray's hoped they would serve primarily as a reminder rather than a weapon, a reminder that humanity had prepared for the worst while still hoping for the best. And perhaps in time, that hope would prove justified.